Okay, let me just get this up and going. Give me a second. Well, let me read this real quick. This meeting is being recorded for our public records and will be posted on the Arlington County Commission meetings YouTube page. So avoid sharing any personal information that you would not like to be made public. Hi, Ms. Lopez. If you could please turn on your camera. Adriana, you can hear us, Ms. Lopez?
Mike's off too.
Yes, you need to unmute.
I thought the whole thing about recording these was that.
No worries, no worries. Are you able to unmute yourself? I just want to make sure.
Great.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Okay. Well, go ahead and work on it, and then they can start the meeting. Just jump in the chat if you need me to help or anything, you have any questions. But if you can, just working on it. Okay.
All right, great. So we start the meeting. I noted at 7:10. Junior and I will co-take the minutes, I think, so we'll stay on top of it so that we don't have batches and batches and batches to approve at one time. So on our agenda tonight, we'll introduce ourselves and offer an opportunity to introduce our guests as well. But primarily tonight, we were tasked with approving a whole bunch of minutes. Since we have a quorum in person, we can do that. We've been carrying a few forward, trying to get us all in the same room at the same time. So some less than exciting business for you guys to witness tonight, but it is business no less, so we will take it up. I'm going to ask our commissioners to introduce themselves here in a second. The other items we have on our agenda is planning out what I called our summertime activities, which will be prepping for the legislative session, making sure that we have coverage for developing those issues and recommendations, which usually happens mid to late summer, early fall when we have our guards down, as well as preparing for a subcommittee meeting later on this month about our engagement at the Arlington County Fair. We also participated in a number of activities during Sexual Assault Awareness Month in April, and so we might take an opportunity to debrief some of those activities while they're top of mind and think ahead for next year. With that being said, I'll start. I'm Caroline Romano. I'm the chair of the Commission on the Status of Women, and I'll pass it to Marguerite Luter, who's our vice chair.
Hi, I'm Marguerite Luter. I'm the commission's vice chair. I've been on the commission for a long number of years now, Carolyn and I being the most tenured. So daytime, I do some consulting, and other than that, really enjoy working on Women Vision and all the other events that the commission puts on.
I'll jump in. I'm Grace Freeman.
I'm Laurel Langhorn. I've been here for about a year.
Gender Gill, also about a year.
Susan Strauss, 2 years.
Courtney Sells, I'm the staff liaison to the commission.
Who's the dog? Can
If
the
you
dog
guys can
introduce
unmute.
himself, Ava?
Oh.
Yes, I'm sorry. My name is Ava Bell. I'm an Arlington resident and have been for about 3.5 years. I am enrolled in the Arlington Neighborhood College. I don't know if you all have heard of that program through the county. And so we are supposed to participate, join, or visit some meeting, a commission meeting or a county board meeting or several. And I was looking through the various commissions, and this commission, I was very interested in this commission, so I decided to join. So.
Love that. Thank you.
Is that me next?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Is it name
and whether I'm an Arlington resident and reason for joining. Is that the, yep, okay, perfect. My name is Adriana Lopez. I have been a resident of Arlington since 2017. And I honestly have been eyeing joining some meetings for the commission since like 2023, I think. I went to a festival near Jefferson Middle School and saw you all tabling an event and talked to some folks who were tabling and they're like, join us. I have little ones, so it wasn't possible at the time because they were keeping me busy, but just looking to get involved in my community. And yeah, I'm excited to be here.
Thank you, Adriana. And but I'd like to think that maybe that was even me that was tabling at the event. It's right across the street from my house, the TJ Middle School. Yeah, and it was probably the county fair where we do a lot of outreach, and you know, we love all of the events that we do on this commission, but reaching out to the community through that summertime event is definitely one of my favorites, and I think a fan favorite here on the commission. So we're glad that we touched you and reached out to you, even if it was a number of years ago, and we're glad that you finally found the capacity and time to join us. We hope, I warned our commissioners tonight, it's not going to be the most exciting of nights, but don't hold that against us. We do interesting stuff. So, all right, with that, we need to approve these minutes going back to last summer. I want you guys for sure to have a look at the attendance, in particular your own, to make sure that it's accurately reflected there.
Hello. Okay.
Do we want to move the chair so you can face the camera? Susan, do you mind if I move this?
Yeah.
Okay, let's start with June 2024. Does anyone have any changes, corrections, objections, edits, anything that needs to go into the record before we officially approve it? Hearing none. All in favor of approving the minutes from June?
Aye.
Aye.
We'll move on to July.
You should ask for any of those, just for the record, because we're recording.
Any opposed? Great, they're approved. All right, moving on to July 2024. Thank you, Marguerite. Oh, no, I was absent. Can't be right.
Were you traveling?
I know.
I actually remember this one. I don't have any changes to recommend.
Anyone have any changes, edits, corrections, edits? I already said edits. Anything else? Hearing none, all in favor of approving the minutes for July 2024? Aye. Any opposed? Those minutes are approved. September. No. Absent again. What kind of charities you guys have leading this thing?
We had a very robust discussion of the electronic meeting books. We tried at the previous meeting, but everybody hadn't read it. These things stick out
Right.
in my mind.
Any edits, corrections, additions, changes?
I was there, but I don't think that matters that much.
Sure does. It's blank, so I must not have known.
Okay,
Were you in person? Do you remember?
yeah, I was first.
Okay, so we need to update the attendance for the September 2024 meeting to include Jade as in person. All in favor of that, of approving the minutes subject to that correction, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Moving on to October, look who showed up. Caroline Romano this year. All right. Interesting, Jade. I have you down as in person and virtual.
And caretaker.
Yeah. I say I didn't do this. I did this.
Oh,
Jen
it's
wrote
probably
this.
me.
Yeah.
Remember in the electronic meeting policy, if you are virtual, there's a series of possible reasons why you can be virtual and be counted as part of the quorum.
Oh. It must have been virtual instead of in person, so just uncheck in person.
I'm also noting that, like Rachel, Zinnia, and Julia, I don't have anything marked for them. I'm gonna assume that meant that they were absent.
Yes,
Okay, so the corrections I need to make here are, assigning Jade only one type of presence, which is virtual. And then making absent notes for Rachel, Zinnia, and Julia. Any other changes or edits?
Caroline, I honestly can't remember, but I know the disabilities when I had my bunion surgery, but can I have my camera on?
Apparently.
Okay.
I don't know why Vendor wrote that. Would you like me to take that note off? Is it unverified?
Sure. Okay, you're probably right.
I think that electronic meeting stuff was fresh on my mind.
Yes.
So.
Mm,
So,
and you were probably having computer difficulties.
Good, yeah. Or the medicines.
okay, so with those edits, do we approve October 10th? All in favor? Any opposed? November. I don't have anything for Sasha or Jade.
I was definitely there for the recap.
I'm gonna mark Jade as definitely there.
I was in present.
And,
I was in person.
Sasha was absent. Does anybody remember? I also see a typo that I'll correct. Item number 4, holiday party, has a random slash at the end. Okay, so the edits will be adding Jade as in person, making Sasha absent, making correction to our typo. With those edits, all in favor of approving the November minutes? All opposed? And so we did work in December, huh? We didn't just, feast. Okay, Susan, I don't have you
Their attendance.
in December. It was a potluck. I don't think you were there.
No, I mean,
This is in Grace
Yeah, I
and
yeah.
okay, so, the edit for this one is to mark Susan as absent, any other changes, edits?
Well, I think that was, I mean, the disability was still there. You need to add that.
No, we don't
No?
need your, I don't
Okay.
think so.
Okay.
You weren't virtual, you just weren't there that night.
Sure.
So with that edit, all in favor of approving December minutes?
Aye.
Opposed?
That's an interesting question. If we went to business, would it still be?
Well, we did do business though.
You did, okay, okay.
The January meeting was our offsite planning meeting. Okay, there's, I don't see an actual attendance, but I'm looking at,
Page 2, I think.
We had good attendance.
Yeah.
oh yeah, no, I see, I didn't make it. Okay, it's under commission for five roster. Any edits or corrections to that one? All in favor of approving the January minutes?
Aye.
Or in this calendar year, congratulations.
February was the one when the second snowfall on the heels of the first one
Oh,
was
right.
predicted.
Predicted.
Yeah.
That was wacky.
Yeah,
That
Oh, yeah.
was one.
You guys might have to help me fill in the blanks on this one. I don't have,
Yeah.
Yeah, I was virtual.
I feel like I was there
I think you,
because I remember I was so stressed about having missed this January one
yeah.
that I was like, I'm not missing another one.
Did
I
Lisa
remember
come?
2 days. snow.
I feel like Lisa was there too. 'Cause we were both within like walking
Yeah,
distance.
I was taking care of my
Mark me is there February. I don't see no reason why I wasn't. I
And
do believe I was here. And
just
Lisa.
because I remember seeing you guys and I'm like, oh wait, still didn't get to meet you guys.
Oh, yeah.
And we had already heard from Zoom that she was no longer.
And Rachel was, is that?
yeah, I came to, yeah, Rachel's already off the rolls.
Right.
So we could wait.
Senior had sent in an email that we had just missed.
I don't remember if Sasha was virtual for that. I can picture Marguerite on the screen.
I don't remember if Sasha was virtual or not either. The likelihood is yes, but I'd be guessing. Yeah. Laurel, I don't think you were in attendance in February.
I don't think so.
Next, do you remember what you were up to?
No snow.
We had a 2 day snow.
Yeah, there was a snowstorm and then there was a prediction that we were gonna have more on this Thursday. So
And then it ended
there
up
were a
being,
few people asking questions, were we gonna meet or not meet, cancel the meeting,
Right,
that sort of thing. So
and it ended up being like 60 degrees and super windy or something really wild. It was like
Yeah, it was.
strange weather.
Oh, yeah, I was in person. So I remember coming to the store.
Yeah, I kind of remember that too. Not the bookstore part, but you. Okay, so for February, do we know about Arbora?
do you happen to remember what?
For February? Yeah, I was just gonna do that.
All right, let's pause February and why don't you guys go ahead and look? Susan, did you? You remember?
February,
Mhm.
I was out for a week taking care of my granddaughter out of the area.
Did you find
Courtney. I don't
No.
think she might have responded to you directly.
I'm checking.
I didn't see it.
So right now we're gonna remove Zinnia. I have Julia absent, Susan absent, Sasha virtual, Jade in person, Laurel absent, Gender virtual, Grace in person, Lisa in person. We're not sure how to mark Barbara. We can certainly leave that blank and approve the minutes subject to those edits I just went through. All in favor?
If you need me to, I can check my emails when I get home on Arbor.
I might.
She usually
Fine.
does a reply all.
Yeah, we didn't have any official business that night, so I don't think
I don't see anything.
it's gonna impact.
Other than WOB, the continuing the event.
I'm gonna put a pause on February, move on to March. Any edits? I have no edits. Any edits, changes? No. All in favor of approving the March minutes?
Aye.
Any opposed? I have April.
Grapes and just, I see her in everyone except for.
I'm feeling like she wasn't here in February.
I don't think she was either, but I don't want to be guessing.
Correct. So. Okay, any edits, changes to April? Okay, all in favor of approving the April minutes as they stand?
Aye.
Any opposed? Great. All right, so what should we do about February? We just need to kick that can down the road and have it hanging out there? Want to do that?
Sure.
Oh.
You're gonna get that all done tonight, huh?
You just need a complete set. I need it done. All right, next meeting, we will
See
take.
how much you did accomplish that. 7 months.
And if Ginger hadn't done at least the starting minutes on a lot of these, bless our hearts. Anyway,
Thank you, Ginger.
yes, thank you. Now we have that fun out of the way. What else did I promise we would discuss? Let's talk about Sexual Assault Awareness Month, what we did and didn't do this year. I'll just observe that I think in not every prior year, but in some prior years, we've worked with Project Peace and gone alongside with them with some outreach at local, tagging on to other local events like farmers markets and other things. That was a huge lift for them. It was difficult for us to latch onto that, but I did also really enjoy that. It's not our place to go tell Project Peace or Doorways or anybody else to, hey, do that again every weekend with your limited capacity. But I'm just acknowledging that's one piece of the typical monthly activities that didn't happen. And then I know Project Peace on behalf of the county held a, I don't know, like a tabling kind of outreach event at the central library on the last day of the month, which that's good too. But as far as what we would have, I think, benefited from was, getting word out about Take Back the Night. Those kind of things are happening in a month, but I'm not throwing shade at them. I wasn't able to attend that event. So, in a perfect world, next year, there'd be all kinds of things and opportunities for us to both promote Take Back the Night and the work of the commission around sexual violence throughout the month of April. But that's tough. I mean, we're a volunteer commission. We're all very busy people with lives and new administrations and transitions and job stuff that's happening. So we'll call this year kind of an anomaly and hope that next year provides.
And that was right around our budget input time. We had that to work on as well.
That's true. And the county was stretching its budget.
It turned it into a couple of sessions,
Yeah,
not just the
exactly.
one.
Yeah. So, yeah, I guess that was me saying, woe is me, woe was us. We're not doing or having as many opportunities as we could have had, but looking forward, I think the night of Take Back the Night, which for the benefit of Ava and Adrian, if you don't know, Take Back the Night is a worldwide event held on the last Thursday of April. Opportunity to break the silence around sexual violence. That rhymes. So that always rhymed. And we started working with Rally Against Rape and hosting parts of the event, like the resource fair, in conjunction with other community partners. We did the event at Gateway Park for a number of years. That venue has a number of challenges. We moved it for the past 2 years to Arlington Village. And I think we all agree that's a fantastic location. We benefit from foot traffic and just families and people mixing and mingling. There's better parking. It's all more kind of interesting environment. I think I think some of us remarked on it the night of, I think a great opportunity for providing, let's say advertisement ahead of the event, but, letting folks know about the event in advance, besides just social media and things, would be to actually go out into Arlington Village on the weekends with event flyers and just start talking to people for a couple of hours, 1 or 2 weekends ahead of time. Even having information about our commission or giving some handouts and things. I know there's some of us on the commission who love doing that kind of thing, and I love doing it with you. I'm just not brave enough to do it on my own. So thinking next year, hopefully our lives and schedules will allow it. Let's go ahead and pre-plan to pick a couple of weekends and do some in-person outreach, at least at Arlington Village where we'll be having the event.
Caroline, last year, excuse me, I remember I talked to someone I know who knows the woman in the library system who does marketing, and I talked to her in Signature Theater, but they said they could only put a small poster up.
But we were talking about all the stores and restaurants that line the
Right,
village street right there. And many of them would be willing to let us put flyers in the window and things like that, which we have not done before. So I think that'd be a good idea.
Yeah.
If I could add, Caroline, I think since we officially sponsored the resource part of the fair, Doorways and Project Peace both had great display tables, info tables. And I think, I don't know how they feel, but from what I observed, they really benefited by the walk-up traffic. Because even the people headed into a theater show would stop by the tables. They didn't stay necessarily for the talking about in the rally against rape, if you will, talking about their stories and that sort of thing. But there were many people that stopped as they were walking into the theater or down to Harris Teeter or wherever at those tables. And I think that was good. The second thing is, I neglected to bring it tonight. I'll bring it to June, but at Project Peace, she was having us take our pictures and sign the badge that said we would say something. And I told her that we would do that as a commission. And I got enough cards for all of us. And they are still sitting right there on the table where I left them.
Yep.
I'll bring them in June and we can all do it. And then she'd love to have a picture of us with our cards.
Yeah, she was talking about Ashley Blow is her name. She's talking about doing a wall of
Yes.
of those pledges. I think that would be outstanding. I'd love to do that. So I'll do it for June. Do the pledge, cards, and photo. Okay. And just minor observation, but we adjusted the setup this year. And I think that worked really well, with one exception that I think it was Doorways stayed at their table during the speaking portion instead of joining kind of the and there was like some, I guess people could still walk up, and then there was some like chatting behind it, so that was a little awkward. I don't know how we do that if we change the setup again. One thing I also thought about the night of was the time that we start the program, and we want to benefit from that foot traffic, which is going to be early evening to give folks, so it's not creepy in the dark, but also then those who are speaking are sort of a broad daylight, kind of in the middle of rush hour traffic. I don't know. I couldn't fully put my finger on what would be a good time, but something felt, I don't know if you guys thought the same thing about the timing, or if we need to, I don't know what would be better. Starting
On
later.
the mic, because not everybody could hear. I was standing where the people were walking by on the street, and it was very hard to hear who was speaking.
I think the timing was good though.
Yeah, I don't want to break it, fix it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I was just having kind of is this the right time?
But maybe just where we position Doorways, because they have a lot to offer and people want to drop by and talk, but the chatting that close, as you're saying, to the speaker, if you already don't have a good mic, then it just makes it that much more difficult.
Yeah.
So we just have to figure out where to position them. Maybe they should be over where Project Peace was, which is a little further away from the speaker or something.
Yeah, or still talk while you're talking.
Well, there's that too, but we don't want to discourage them from coming because obviously they're a necessary addition.
Yeah, I'm also just chuckling because I was so genius to add those little cups to the top of the, I don't know how many fires you got. Oh, you.
I put out like 2 of those fires.
I'm like, is something on fire? I'm just like, smoke. And at one point it was a cigar, but I become very sensitive to it because they had legit caught fire. Just kind of like, don't put it down if it's still lit, but that was fun. It did help keep the candles lit.
Because it was windy.
Yeah.
Anything else I can think of? I mean, I'll say like efficiency wise, we were able to, at the end, Jenny and I were able, and the help of our 2 friends who were drinking Mike's Hard Lemonade.
Yes.
Yeah, they helped us load up my car and we got everything into my vehicle at the end of the night. So Jenny didn't have to drive me back to the house. If you guys don't remember, we went from like renting a huge U-Haul and renting giant tables to now Caroline owns everything in her basement and I can just take it out. So, pros and cons, if you ask my husband, by having a basement full of, although Lisa Sales said that's how you know somebody who volunteers and advocates a lot, is that they have a basement full of stuff ready to go for the next event. She seemed to think that was cool. My husband seems to wonder why I have so many tables in our shed. Okay.
Logistically, I think it was one of our better events in terms of how we did it.
Yep.
Because we did not start marketing early enough, often enough, and in enough places, we didn't have the same size crowd. And we were competing with the weather. It was very cold and windy, as I recall. I don't think there was as many people out and about as we might normally have gotten, so.
Yeah, and taking the TV in my basement and propping it up on that wheelie thing, I'm super proud of myself for that. Low cost, but I think the digital version of not having our banners and stuff up, it makes us more nimble in terms of like adding the last minute. Even Virginia Now added at the very last minute. Now didn't have to reprint anything, so that was cool.
And the one thing I want to make sure you record in your notes, the half sheet that we have, we should just do the whole sheet and put the resource information on the back, because that sheet was way more popular than the smaller sheet that said, here's what the program is. Program on the front, resources on the back, because then people who weren't even staying for the program were able to take the resource, and you could see them reading the detail of what's on the resource sheet.
Yeah, and I think one other thing to note, and we'll add this to the record, is to add, well, if it was amazing, we could add like a barcode to it so that then you could go to a website that has all the links, but at a minimum, I want to add websites, or however
To the list of resources.
Yeah, so, I mean, everyone can use Google, presumably, but I think just having that,
Yep, I
like the
agree.
resources.
And not bit.ly's, the whole ones, that they might have to be typing it in.
Great. Okay, anything else on that? Here's to next year. I can't remember what else we said we were gonna talk about.
Well, County Fair, just a reminder, and I'll send a written email, which I assume is okay, over top of what you already sent out for the teams info. But we have an official committee meeting for anybody interested in working on the fair info, and it's May 29th. I believe the time is 7 o'clock, but you already got a note from Courtney. I'm going to forward that and give you a reminder. Arbor's out of town, or otherwise Arbor would do it, but she's back in time for that, and we'll lead that discussion. But anybody that's interested in being on the committee, and that would mean if you have a suggestion, you have an input, if there's something you want to say or do, or get the rest of us to say or do around the fair, please attend that virtual meeting.
Who's the date again?
May 29th, and I believe it's in the minutes from our last meeting. Yes. Schedule follow-up meeting to plan and discuss community engagement questions for the county fair planning, and it's virtual on May 29th. So,
And I think Courtney already sent out the
She
invite
did.
too.
She did. I'm going to forward the invite so that you have it. You can find it amongst all your emails, but just as a reminder.
And for the benefit of our guests and anyone who hasn't gotten to do the fair with us, Margaret, maybe you can help fill in some of the blanks here and talk more than me. Primarily what we're going to be focusing on is the, I guess, the flavor of our outreach. For lack of a better term, what we usually do is have, when we table, as a way for the community members to, conversation starter, but we try and survey the community members who come through about issues that they believe are the most important for women and girls in Arlington. And the way we ask that question has changed year to year, whether it's open-ended or whether we use prompts and then ask people to, like we started with the toothpick poll. And so we've gone about this a number of ways. Sometimes we find that it's always the same one or two issues. And so we've tried to drill down more specifically on other topics to try and get more information and feedback from the community. We've also done, like I said, sort of an open-ended version in conjunction with this, where we use Post-its and ask community members to, I think one year it was really fun. We asked participants to tell us what was the best thing about being a girl or a woman, and then what was the hardest thing. I just got chill bumps about being a girl or a woman, and all the Post-its. It was just, it was great to see all of that. And then I got to then type them all up so that we saved them, which was like a second version of Feel Good. So I'm looking forward to doing, not pre-scripting, but I'm sure we'll do something similar. And then what we do is, it's an improper, non-statistical analysis, but we still gather that information and provide feedback to the county board about what we've heard from the community at that event. So I think we've done enough years now that we kind of know where we need to provide more clarity on our questions or opportunities for people to engage and provide their input without confining it too much, but also without having it just be super open-ended. It's almost always well received from people who stop by, although there's always somebody who wants to share with us that why do we need to have a commission dedicated to issues of women and girls? What about men? But those are very few and far between. So on the whole, it's a very positive experience, and one that I missed last summer and I'm still sad about.
Caroline says she missed it. She didn't really, because she provided all of our table giveaways. She was home making product bags she did every time we were running low on supplies. It was like there was a delivery from Caroline. So,
but I'm being all silly, but like hanging out with you guys for hours on end during the day too, it's just nice. These meetings are short and we're all busy, and it seems like we do get some quality time together.
and hopefully, even if you're not able to be a part of the committee, hopefully you will find time during those days to work a shift, because it's helpful. I enjoy doing it, so working a couple shifts, not a bad thing, but I think you would enjoy it if you're able to take on a shift. And we always need people to help table, if you will. So we'll put together the shift schedule at the committee meeting as well, and then send it out to all commissioners. And if you could fill in a shift, even if you weren't on the committee, that would be great.
And I'll just note too, I don't know how this will impact, we'll still table and all that, but I was talking to Susan Cunningham, and I think I read this elsewhere, is that the county is doing the fair a little bit differently this year.
Well, I read this too.
Okay.
They took over the operations of the fair from the nonprofit that used to do it. I have no idea what happened to that nonprofit, but that was in one of the Inside Arlington newsletters.
Yeah, Susan said it was mostly volunteers, and that there wasn't, her words, like there was a couple of aspects that got a little bit out of control, and it sounded like maybe there's not a safety issue, but maybe from like a safety and liability perspective, they were either going to need to be in control of it or not in control of it at all. So I don't think any of that will change, again, the way that we engage, but it's just something to keep an eye out in terms of how we get word about stuff. And
They're also going to be voting at their next board meeting on whether the beer garden moves inside the fair perimeter as opposed to outside of it. So I'm guessing that whatever went out of control, that had to be one of them. So
interesting.
but they're going to be taking a vote at the board meeting, is what the Inside, I guess it was Arlington Now, sorry, not the Inside Arlington newsletter, but Arlington Now reported that at their next board meeting, they were voting on whether or not that particular Jefferson could be one of the sites in the county that is permitted to serve alcohol at its events. There are several others and parks that already have that permission, but TJ did not, which is why the beer garden was outside the perimeter of the fair.
That's very interesting. I don't want to belabor this, but I will share that as a neighbor to the fair, which I think is awesome. It's a total perk of living where I do. Again, my grouchy husband doesn't always agree. Back in the day, they didn't close off Second Street, or they would only close off parts of it. And so traffic and parking were a total nightmare. They've done a lot to you can't park anywhere near the fair. You have to shuttle in or get an Uber or whatever. I think closing Second Street is genius just because you have so many people that close to the street. But then they started taking advantage of Second Street for activities, including the beer garden. The beer garden, the first time it appeared, was way down near the 7-Eleven. So you had to kind of walk way too far to get to it. And so then you were kind of disengaged from the fair. And I think, maybe parents and families was like, hey, kids, can mom and dad stop and have a beer? We have to go all the way down the road. So I think they've moved it a couple of times. And I think maybe it got a little too close to the Ferris wheels in the fair itself, maybe. So there was less crowd control. I don't know. Again, I was in sick bay during the whole fair. So if anything went down, I didn't see it. Interesting. So, okay. So they're trying to figure out whether to have it on the grounds. Okay. Would be a different fair this year.
And it's not a matter of having it on the grounds. It's a matter of granting TJ permission as a site to offer alcohol. Every event still has to get a license. So it's just TJ's not one of the ones that is granted apparently the ability to do that, whereas Gateway Park is, and there are a couple of others listed that already have the approval of the county board to offer alcohol.
I just hope they don't move the fair. Nobody vote for that now.
Yeah. Didn't say anything about that.
Yeah, there was
a great fair
It
location.
was about 6 years. I think it was pre-pandemic. There was talk about moving it to, where the DMV is down on 4 Mile Run-ish
Yeah.
area, somewhere around there. There's a big field or something. And at some point it was talked about that, and I felt very saddened
I don't know where
that I would
that
have to
Totally
shuttle
different.
to the fair.
is. That over in the Sequoia area? No, I don't know where that is. that you're talking
It's not far from Shirlington, it's kind of on the other side.
Yeah, like the
It
other
doesn't-
side. It didn't, that conversation didn't last long, but I was fearful they'd take my fare away from me. Okay, so stay tuned for May 29th. I intend to be there, although I believe on May 27th, there is a community strategic planning
That's the one I can't attend.
conversation that I'll be attending for the benefit of the commission.
But isn't that one virtual also?
I believe so. It's also on the 27th, so it'll be that week. So by the June meeting, I'll have a readout from that.
Who's sponsoring them?
It's a county. I apologize. I
Do you
don't have
remember who's sponsoring it? The advisory commission, where they asked for.
Oh,
us
was it
to
the-
attend.
The long,
It's the long range planning,
long,
the group doing long range planning for the county
random.
asked us if.
It's
we
the
would-
first of a series of engagements, so I'll know more after the next meeting. Marguerite's my sub and backup, so we'll pass the baton back and forth after that. And then I know that there was one other item before we. Anything else for the summer? We will meet, I think we planned on meeting in June and May, June, and July, taking August off because we did the fair. That's still set. I know vacation schedules and things are unknown early in the year, even though I asked everybody to commit way ahead of time. If you guys do know in advance that you won't be available for a June or July meeting, let's try and get ahead of that just so that if we do have anything we need to vote on formally, that we can. I say that not being able to think in my own mind what I don't think I have.
That's where I was gonna go.
Okay, what is
Who
the
said
July?
what?
July.
July 10th.
And there were some people that at the planning meeting said they couldn't attend when.
I don't have anybody listed for July 10th here.
Okay.
Not either. We have Jean and Arbor absent today. Sasha won't be here for June 12th.
But she said she'd be here for July. She said she'd see us in July because she's out in June.
Okay,
And Arbor is out in June, which is why we're doing the planning for the fair May.
and Barbara will also be out in August for the fair. I told her her soul is not gonna recover.
Yes, and she has backup co-chairs, Ginger and Jess.
Okay, so that's it for official business, the announcements, discussion items.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
For the research and policy department, is that committee or department still meeting, or are they meeting? If so, I wanted to join the meeting.
Awesome.
That was the other item, legislative prep.
Yeah, for that.
Yeah, usually we get outreach. When do we usually get outreach? It usually comes in the summer when we're not prepared for it and we're trying to focus on the fair.
So any start ahead of time, if you're on that committee, Laurel, that you're willing to do would be a great thing. And I don't think they have any new legislation coming up at State House, so you'd certainly be able to review what's already been decided and figure out if there's anything we want to give input to. All the campaign people that are campaigning for seats are putting in there what they want to work on, so there might be something we would want. I haven't read them all yet. I will before I vote, but you know, there may be something there that we want to react to.
I'll say one of the places I've started before, I found what I was looking for. Okay, so Rachel's no longer with us. Not like RIP, but okay. Or so may add Laurel's name here for notes. One place I've started in the past for that is at the end of, once the session's over, which it is, right? And sort of the legislative matters for Virginia have been settled. A lot of times delegates, representatives send post summaries of achievements from the session, as well as things that were introduced but didn't pass. And so, you know, cheat sheets, those are often great resources for looking at things that had some momentum or at least had interest and support. So those could be things that we would propose that the county support or invest some advocacy and lobbying.
I remember our role is to give the county board what we hope they would submit to the state. So that's our process. Another good source of information, Barbara Favola, always willing to share the things that she thought were important but didn't get through. If you wanted to invite her to a meeting, we would just want to make sure that we have a quorum, whatever night that is.
What about and this may be outside the scope, but the policies that are coming out of the new administration that could potentially impact Living Grove and Arlington? Is that something that we want to look at as well, or is that going to be like outside the scope?
Well, it doesn't mean we can't look at it and see if there's something that we would want to recommend to the county. I mean, that's our job.
Absolutely. And that was a general topic that was already on the minds of our county board members going into the budget session. But I think we know more now, I think, every single day. And that's certainly something that we can react to and propose. You know, obviously we don't want to write something up that just reacts to any administration changes, policies across the nation that might be impacting women in Virginia, but proposing ways that Virginia can
Mitigate.
mitigate. Yeah, ways that, recognizing how those items and issues might be impacting the local community, and then what can the legislature or the county board do to get ahead of that or mitigate or.
Okay.
And if you see something that we might want to turn into let's get the anecdotal feedback at the county fair, please let us know. I'm on the fair committee. Jinder and Jax are on the fair committee since they're co-chairs. So get that info to us and we can maybe formulate something in our outreach at the fair to gather some anecdotal feedback that we could submit to the county as well.
Yeah, I think the socio-political dynamics, if you will, are definitely top of mind to people who are at the fair. And both at the federal level and at the local level. And I can remember young women asking, like, you know, what can we do to protect abortion rights in Virginia, kind of thing. And it's like, you know, trying to help them kind of fuel that into information and ways that they could advocate and support. So, yeah, we can try and tee some of that up with the county, with our county fair, with our questions and survey, to some of that's going to land right on our post-its, whether we ask for it or not. And that's good. I think we definitely want to hear from members of the community about that, even if it's not squarely. I mean, the great thing about our commission is that our policy agenda is what we make it, and we can be flexible and responsive to the community. But even something that's not squarely in our issue bucket, we can make it part of our issue bucket.
Okay. Sounds good.
I just had a thing I remembered from Take Back the Night. If you guys remembered, introducing my friend Shell Damaris, who's the clinical manager now for the FACT department at ANOVA. And she mentioned she and I go way back. We volunteered together in DC, and she moved around. Now she's come back. She's a great resource. She is excited to come out and talk to us whenever we want, even virtually if necessary, about services that are offered, challenges they might be having, and then really just to tap into her about our concerns about not having rape kits and forensic exams and somewhere broader than just Fairfax Hospital.
Just wondering, there could be two approaches. I look forward to having her because she'll have tons of information to share about real world, regardless of what we see in print. We could have her in July and gather what she says so that we have something to respond with to people that talk to us at the fair. The downside being that we may not have because it's July and it's summer, we may not have a full enough team to make that workable. The other alternative is to have her in September, share what we heard at the fair, get real answers from her that we can incorporate into whatever we're sending to the board. So, you know, plus and minus on whether it would be July or September would be better, but September we should all be back from vacation.
And one other thing Candace Lopez mentioned at Take Back the Night was that Project Peace is, and I'm going to call it a focus group, but that's not what they called it. I'm just trying to describe it. They were trying to get people who have interacted with the system, who've reached out for resources, gone to the emergency room or had friends exams, whatever, to talk to them about their experience. So they're trying to get, I think, a firsthand kind of accounting, but to figure out that spectrum of services and how it's being perceived and received when folks actually interact with it. So I can also reach out to Candace, see how that's going, if they are finding people and if they are getting information, how we can assist with that, or even just interact with that along with what we can get from Michelle and what we hear from members of the community. I think that could be a great way to hone in a whole bunch of different information sets. I think a lot of people in positions like ours and Project Peace want to know more, and there's not a real solid way to go about. You don't have like a customer experience survey that you give out after a rape kit.
Right. And maybe whatever meeting, once we've decided what you and Michelle have decided what meeting works best for her to attend, maybe we invite Candace to send a representative who can participate virtually just to be able to hear Michelle in the discussion. That sort of thing.
Awesome. Yeah. And if we are trying to get participation from Shell and Candace, it could be that a virtual event might be a better way, virtual meeting, just to enable their participation. So we need to convert our July meeting to an all virtual.
July or September.
Okay. You know, I don't like that.
I know, but we're allowed to
Yeah.
do 25% of our meetings can be virtual, so we tell people ahead of time.
Okay.
So even if there's a back to school night, for example, commissioners could still participate in September.
Yeah. Caroline, one thing I recall in one of the meetings, we were talking about the potential of having a fall program. Does anyone remember that? I mean, we didn't say anything specific, but I wonder all the information we could cull together in that regard, we could, you know, form it into a tangible program.
So the one thing we decided at the planning meeting was we were going to use the planning template. So anyone who has an idea for a program should fill out the template and give it to the rest of the commissioners to review and decide in that way. So whether or not we're going to do a program, because we would then have a commissioner leading on the idea as opposed to just suggesting.
Right.
But just generally speaking, as far as our planning goes, last year in the fall, we were hyper focused on our 50th anniversary celebration.
Yeah.
And to take up a lot of our time and energy. We don't have anything like that scheduled this year. I'm not saying that we need to. We have plenty to do even without planning events. So we do have a little more bandwidth in the fall. than we did last year.
Right, we should just get in June, we should be looking, however, at the template filled out. I know I'm looking at you because you
No,
have the idea. I'm using it as an
Yes,
example though.
no,
In
exactly.
June, we should be able to be reviewing
Yeah.
the template
Right.
with it all filled out about, so what does this idea look like?
Right.
And
Right.
then decide, do we want to go forward or not? And that still gives us 3 or 4 months to pull it off if there's a
Sure.
decision that we should do that.
I was also talking to Meg Tusillo from AAUW, and she was thinking maybe there's another joint program. So they're having a meeting in June too.
Meg Tuchillo is a member of the
American-
AAUW, the American Association of University Women, but she's a longtime county person. She's been on the school board. She was on the board of, what are they called now? APOP?
Oh,
They used to be called something else.
Path Forward now?
Path Forward. Used to be called Path Forward, now they're APOP? I don't know. The homelessness nonprofit
Yes.
that works with the, has grants from the county to provide housing and stuff like that. So Meg is connected in a number of different ways, and she has brought the AAUW with the commission to sponsor, they co-led our financial seminar a couple, year and a half ago.
It was.
Fall of
June.
23?
Yeah, June.
Was it June?
Yeah.
So before I close us, I do want to give Ava and Adrian an opportunity. You guys, if you have any feedback for us, questions you want to ask, anything you want to share or clarify, you are absolutely welcome to pipe up.
How do you join the commission? Are there requirements and, do you have to apply and?
Yeah, absolutely. So the Arlington County website has a general commissions page, and the application process is general for all commissions. And when you apply online, it asks you which commissions you're interested in.
Okay.
It's a checkbox kind of thing. So you can more or less apply for more than just one. And then I don't fully know how it works behind the scenes, but the way I think it happens is that whoever receives it, board members or their staff review it and then pass those applications and resumes or interests on to us to review. We 100% encourage you to join us. We have tonight at a meeting so that you know what we're about before you sign your blood, sweat, and tears on the document committed. And you're also welcome to join these meetings like you have tonight without signing a commitment. But so the application process is general. The requirements are that you either live, work, or volunteer in Arlington. Live or work in Arlington. I think that's it. Yeah. There's commitments about how many attendance at meetings and that sort of thing. Once you're a member, I know that some folks have had a recent experience. Was that about how it tracked for you?
Yeah, it was super easy.
Okay.
Yeah, so we have a liaison board member, Maureen Coffey. She's fantastic, and she'll reach out and usually asks us. We don't get a deciding vote necessarily, but she asks us, what do you think? Does this seem like a good fit? Almost always it is. I don't know that we've ever said no, please.
And you can expect an interview with a board member,
Right.
usually the board member that is the liaison for the commission that you're applying to.
Okay. Okay. And are we able to volunteer to help with some of these activities, even if we're not on the commission?
100%.
Okay.
Yep. And we would love to have you. So stay connected.
Okay.
Courtney, who you connected with, I think to join the meeting or must have gotten, maybe?
Well, it's posted on the
Okay.
website. So anybody-
Yeah, I just clicked the button to join and through the Arlington Neighborhood College, the coordinator asked everybody in the group, I think there's 25 of us, to pick a commission or a board meeting or multiple, meetings or commissions, and to participate in, and then we have to report back a little bit on, what it was, our experience with it, and so thought that looked interesting. I did not know there was a commission on the status of women, and I mean, Arlington County obviously has lots of commissions, but I was very particularly interested in this one, and so I just clicked to join. So that's all.
There are, while I'm not an expert, there are so many commissions and advisory groups, and they all operate at different levels. Some of them have specific tasks that must get done during the course of the year on behalf of the county board, and those should be listed on the website. I just recently did some research for our outreach efforts on this commission, and as I looked at all the commissions and you click on it, you can tell which ones are probably the biggest because they have such a work list of things that they need to accomplish. So just offer that. You can find out a good bit of information by clicking on their website link as well and looking at some of the minutes.
Okay, thank you.
But ours is far and above the best.
Absolutely. No question.
Without a doubt.
All right.
I provided my my email and the link in the chat.
Okay.
And Ava, with that, Courtney can put you in touch with any of us here, and I'm happy to, stay connected with you and let you know when we have opportunities, even if you aren't trying to join formally. We can certainly keep you on our email list and keep you engaged so you know what's going on. Nope, not a high pressure sales thing here. That way you have a way to stay connected, and if it meets your schedule, we'd be happy to have you join us. So thanks.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Yeah.
And again, our meeting of the committee for planning the fair is May 29th if you're available.
Okay.
That felt like a hard pressure sell.
Yes.
Yeah, right.
No, would it just be joining through the same link on the website, or would that be something that I need to get in?
It's posted on the website, so what you do with this one, the same thing, is sure to be posted.
Oh, okay. Okay. All right.
Okay. Anything else before I close the meeting? At 8:13 p.m. Thank you all for being here and for getting through these minutes. Courtney is quite pleased that these will be done and off our list as well. Good to see you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Caroline, do you want any of these or
Thank you.
coordination? Yeah.
That's that one, I think, right?